adding any layer of playoffs or adding any length will put the season into the 10th of November before long. The season this year, now next year the season opens earlier, but that is a tremendous risk opening the season in the Northeast on March 31st. That is a tremendous risk. You could lose 3 or 4 days there, easy. If you had a homestand starting March 31, you could lose 3 or 4 dates in that first week without blinking an eye if you catch the wrong weather. I mean, it could snow. You could have freezing rain. You could have 30-degree temperatures. That is not a good weather. That is still not a good weather cycle. You know, here in New York, the weather is not good consistently before the 15th of April. So you're always running a risk. Now, if you're going to start 2 weeks before that and play a lot of games in that time period, you got a chance for a lot of rainouts in that early portion. So they are moving the schedule up. The schedule actually is, the season opens. I mean, they already have the schedule printed, as a matter of fact. It opens on March 31st, and they already have the schedule out. I mean, it's very early this year. A lot of teams playing even on March 31st. So when you look at it from that standpoint, it does make it earlier than we've had. But again, it's not enough. If you're going to play 162 games, it's not going to be enough to add a layer without going deeper into November. And the plan is not to go any deeper into November than we are already. So that is something. I don't know if they can get guys to agree to 154 or not. I think that is going to be a difficult task. But there has been talk about adding this other wild card. I think that is a distinct possibility. I think we could see that very, very quickly, just how the playoffs will be layered. And it will mean one thing, and I think it's a good thing, and this is where they're trying to get. This is the idea of this. Not only to add another layer, they are trying to make it far more advantageous to play for the division title than to want to be a wild card. If you make the wild card team play another layer of playoffs, if you put the division winner into the second round versus the wild card team, then people will push very hard to be division winners, because if you can miss a round of the playoffs and it already puts you closer to the promised land, well, that's something that is very much worth playing for, versus now where all you're playing for is one date and it really is not any big deal. No one goes out of their way, as we saw this whole year, and no one liked the feel of this Yankee-Tampa race or other races we have seen in the past where you haven't had anybody have any reason to not try to finish as a wild card. Now you're trying to get past that. You add a wild card team, which keeps another city alive, which improves your chances of meaningful September baseball, because you're always fighting the NFL's move into the minds and hearts of everybody in September. And if you don't have compelling races, they just take over. And if you have good races, that makes a big difference. But now you're giving people or giving teams a real reason to play hard and to try and win that division. And if you do that, well, I think that makes a lot of sense. It really does. The question is, can you do that and cram all this in, have another layer of playoffs, and still be finished at a reasonable time in November without opening up in late March, which won't work in a lot of cities? That remains to be seen. So we got a lot to do today. We'll get to all of it, including your calls, right after this.